Mike Green, who is running for Register of Deeds. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, how are you, Paul?
Fine, how are you?
Oh, good.
Now, a month ago I didn't know you, and we met and we sat down and ate a meal together, and since then we've kind of become friends, and I've learned more in the last week or two about Register of Deeds than I guess I ever wanted to know, because we've been talking to, there are 5 people running for that office.
Yeah, there's a little bit of people running for the office.
And what happened to the Register of Deeds? Who was it, and where did she go?
Deborah was the Register of Deeds, and she is retiring now. She's getting up there in age, and I guess she doesn't want to do it anymore. So she's retiring, left an open seat.
She's been there 20 years, I understand.
Yeah, since 1996.
It's time to take a break, and I think that maybe she was working in that office prior to that. So I'm not sure about that, but I understand that she was involved in other ways before it. So she's done a good job. Most people are saying there are some things that need to be changed, but for the most part, people compliment her on the great job she's done. But now, tell us, Mike, what does a Register of Deeds actually even do?
Well, that's a good question. I'm glad that you asked that, Paul.
Yeah,
because I'm going to tell you, the Register of Deeds is responsible for the management of that office. And they record your property deeds, they record powers of attorney, UCC, tax liens, other tax filings on your real property. I'm told there's even some DD 214s there.
Now, what are DD 214s and US UCCs?
Well, the UCCs are the tax liens that are coming against your property, and the DD 214s, of course, are your honorable discharge papers, and you have to have that in order to get any veterans benefits or to be buried at Fort Jackson.
Okay, so they register property deeds. If somebody's got a lien on a property, like a mechanic or a person that put pipe in the ground or graded the property, and they don't get paid, they can put a lien on a piece of property.
Right.
If a mortgage is satisfied, or if a mortgage needs to be recorded, so that somebody can't borrow several times on the same piece of property without the bank's knowing, all those papers come to the Register of Deeds office.
That's correct. There's over 5 million documents there.
Wow, just in the one in Lexington.
Just in the one in Lexington.
And how far do they go back?
I think they go back to, of course, 1865.
Wow.
But we don't have a complete record in 1865 because someone came through and kind of burned
the place down. right in the heart of the war between the states, somebody came and burned it all down. But 1865 basically is where the records start and come forward from the Civil War until today. So if Grandpa sold a piece of property to Uncle Tim in 1910, it may take a while, but we could find that record somewhere up there where it was recorded.
Right. Well, and the other thing that I'm told is that there weren't exactly deeds all the way back there. Okay, those were mostly bill of sales. They came, especially in maybe 1865, 1890. So it's not actual deeds per se there.
But it's a piece of paper that proves continuity of ownership of property.
Right. That's correct.
So now. Are all these 5 million pieces of paper stuffed in a filing cabinet somewhere?
No, fortunately not. Most of them have been, a lot of them have been digitized. I think it's starting about 1985 or somewhere. All of those until now have been digitized. The others are hard copies that are there. And so remember, we're required to store them at 2 different places, so in case someone comes marching through.
Sherman's great-grandson comes through again.
We store them at the state archives on microfilm. So everything that is recorded there is automatically sent over to the state archives eventually, and then we're storing 1 copy there at the courthouse.
And is it a piece of paper now, or is it on microfilm?
No, most of it is electronic. Now some of it is actual paper.
So they've got all these papers and this electronic record stored over there, and who uses those, Mike? Who goes in that office, or does anybody go in? Is it just people working the store, or is there customer service going on? What's happening there?
Yeah, no, there's lots of customer service. There are people that come in there that, of course, buy a piece of property. They have to record the deed if they do it in between their family. Mostly lawyers who are recording deeds for their
customers, clients?
There you go, customers, clients. And then also actuary. Not actuaries. It starts with an A too. The other people, the people who are looking for the documents to make sure, when they do a title research.
So they're having to deal with the continuity of ownership of properties and things like that. and those records are important. I mean, if a bank has got a lien on a piece of property that's close to the value of the property, you don't want the owner of the property to be able to go down to another bank and borrow that same amount, and then the collateral not be worth what the loans are. So the banks and their attorneys and all get involved in that, and then go there to the Register of Deeds office and resource those things. So is there a customer service counter? And I mean, do a lot of people go in and out throughout the day?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a little bit of traffic, but what we're doing is we're trying to get more e-recording there now. So, I mean, Deborah was one of the leaders of putting up the e-recording. They actually had to pass a state law. Since she was in Lexington, and since she's one of the partisan elected officials, I mean, there's only 6 statewide partisan Register of Deeds. She went down and lobbied the State House, and told them what the importance of e-recording was. And, e-documentation, of making sure that all that gets to the courthouse easier, and so they can record it rather than getting paper. They're getting like a scanned copy from the attorneys.
Okay, so e-recording and electronic records, because I just could not fathom what it would look like to have 5 million documents stored in Lexington County somewhere. I mean, we'd have to build another administration building to store the stuff. So it's all electronically stored. So you can go in there and you can ask for records. Now, are those open to the public?
Right. Every document that's at the Register of Deeds office is open to the public. They can view anything. Most of it they can actually view at home on their computer without even getting out of their car.
So that's important, because if you can look at it from the house and not have to go up there and have a customer service representative help you, then that helps with manpower. Because how many people actually work in an office, Mark?
Right. There's only 8 people that work in the office.
Does that include the register?
I think so. I'm going to have to check on that. But I think there's only 8 people that work in the office. So it's not like a big office. The assessor's office only has like 13 people working in it.
It's not like the sheriff's department's got 400 plus employees.
Right.
Okay, so people going in and out of there, and they're registering documents like liens and those kind of things. And I used to be in the construction business, and I know how important those are. If I put $40,000-$60,000 worth of pipe in the ground for somebody, and all of a sudden he decides not to pay me, then I don't want him to be able to do anything with that property until he pays me my money. So the Register of Deeds helps with that as well.
Right. It's amazing how fast the person will pay when there's a lien on his property.
Right. So now. Most people say that the office is running fairly smoothly and that Deborah's done a great job with it. I have not had one candidate that I've talked to criticize her operations. Of course, everybody says a fresh set of eyes help. So have you gone up there and looked, and what can you see that would change that would make the office better?
Right. Well, through my research, here's what I see would make the office better. Is number one, we have 14% of our documents coming in from the Department of Revenue. They are under a requirement by state law to file those documents electronically. They're not doing so. So 14% of it is coming paper-wise that should be coming electronically. Not to mention, we need to push the e-documentation even more with the attorneys and with everyone else that's out there. All they have to do is sign an affidavit, and they can start presenting deeds and other things electronically. So the more we get electronically, that helps us. So when, at 4:30 and everyone wants to come in and file something, they don't have to wait.
So the more electronic you can do, the less people have to go to the administration building, the less customer service folks you got to have at the counter, the less parking spaces you got to have in the parking lot, the less gas. It's just better all the way around.
Right.
So how can we speed up getting electronic records?
Well, there's the Greenville County has done a tremendous job of that. They have almost digitized all of their records. And one of the ways they did that was they were able to do a trade with the vendor for names and addresses, and they required them to scan all the documents that they got. So that allowed them to get almost $1 million in tax savings that way.
Wow! So Greenville County's led the way. Now, what other things can we do to improve that office, Mike?
Well, I think one of the other ways that we can work to improve the office is also making sure that we protect their identities. Some of the older deeds could have some personal information on there, such as date of birth, social security number, anything along those lines. And remember, they're stored at 2 places, so they have to be redacted from both places in order to be out of public view.
I got you. So there are ways to help with that. Now, you and I talked one time about the fact that actually there's some some ways that people with a mischief on their mind can actually even have sold other people's property and things. Is there a way that how does that happen even?
Right. What happens is that if maybe let's say that you go away for a vacation from your the Kirby Mansion.
yeah, in downtown Pillion, South Carolina.
The Kirby Mansion in downtown Pillion, and you're going away for vacation to Orlando, Florida, for a week. Someone could come in there and file a quit claim deed against your property. And they don't have to have they might have to have your signature, but they just have to have a notary. So they can go to the Register of Deeds office, file it, and basically be living in it. So when you come back, you're like, get out of my house.
And he's got rights to it because he's got a deed?
Yes, he's got rights to it because he has a deed, and now it has to be a foreclosure procedure, taking maybe 30, 60, 90 days. Now, some of them in Chicago, way up north, they have done that with $1.5 million mansions, where they get a quit claim deed. And
how do they get a quit claim deed? I mean, all they have to do is grow a beard and act like me, put a shepherd's hat on?
No, all they have to do is have a signature on a piece of paper. And now we have to prove that paper is incorrect and all of that. So what I'm proposing is another idea that Greenville has is that they have what they call a fraud sleuth program. It's a voluntarily sign up your piece of property, and if you do so, you'll get an email if anyone files a deed or anything against your property right there.
So if I'm down at Disney World with the Kirby clan, and we're having a great time, and I got my phone in my pocket, and it goes off and says, hey, somebody has filed a quit claim deed against your property, then I can call up here real quick and scream real loud.
Right. And then we can look at it much quicker and potentially get rid of that person out of your property.
I got you. So the signatures, and in that case, all you got to have is a couple crooked notaries, and this is a done deal.
Right.
So I understand what you're saying now. So the fraud sleuth program would notify me by email if somebody's filing papers on my property. How about if somebody goes up there and says, Paul owes me money and I want to go file a lien against it, and I never met the guy, didn't do anything for me? I mean,
right.
Is it going to alert me if he files a lien against my property?
Yeah, it will alert you if he files a lien against the property too.
So I can scream loud about that as well.
Right.
I got you.
And we can nip it. We can basically, as Barney Fife says, nip it in the bud.
I got you. Now, tell me a little bit about your experience, Mike. I know that you've been involved in some political campaigns. That you went to Bob Jones University, didn't you?
Right. I went to Bob Jones University. Graduated in 1993. Then I came down here. I was working in several different political campaigns. Also worked over at Starboard Communications.
Now, what do they do over there?
They're doing political consulting.
Okay.
So, I consulted in races with Nikki Haley when she ran for the House, for many of the other candidates just all around. I can't even name them all. Karen Floyd. I was with Thomas Ravenel when he ran for the Senate. Just a number of them along the lines for county council, state house.
Well, now what kind of experience did you have that qualifies you to keep up with all these records?
Well, one of the things is the management experience. So is my IT, with the, when I was in these places, I was doing the operations managing of those. So I was the IT guy, basically. We call it the, if you watch Dilbert, what is it, the Preventer of Information Services?
Yeah. But one of the places I think you handled a great deal of information to the information
right.
When you were. I remember that when we talked that you worked somewhere where there was large mailing lists and records like that were kept up with.
Right. So it's all the data that's coming in and all the data that was going out of these places. I would handle that on a day-to-day basis. Now I'm working in real estate investing, so I'm also now working in real estate on a day-to-day basis of with properties and seeing them all the time and trying to rehab them or rent them or whatever.
I got you. But now you've been campaigning. How have you met people, Mike? And how are you getting out to get your message out? Hey, vote for Mike Green.
Right. Well, basically, wherever there are 2 or 3 or more people gathered, I'm going to be there.
Sounds like a church to me. So we're gonna have church. We're gonna have church where we gather a few people together, and Mike Green's gonna say, "Hey, I'm the guy for registering."
Right. I'm shaking their hands. I'm looking at them in the eye, and I'm asking them for their vote. I've been to probably about 70 different events or groups gatherings, and I'm going to plan on continuing doing that. I'm constantly out in the community, and let me tell you, we have a great community here and a lot of great people. And some of these people I've known before, but now I know even more, and I'm really more impressed with them.
You know, politics is hard work. I've seen you at several places.
Yeah.
I saw you at a barbecue picnic. I've seen you here at Chili's. I've seen you in a parade where you had it was a nice parade and you had to walk through the parade, but then you had to walk back to get to your car.
Yeah.
So is it slimming you down and toning you up?
Yeah, it's like I think I have lost a little bit of weight. I mean,
You had to in the parade last week. All that sweat we were all doing.
I know it's a little hot out there. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was. I mean, it is humbling, you know, to go out there and see all these people. I mean, and some of these people have very serious questions. You know, some of them will blow you off, but some of them, I mean, are very concerned. I mean, are concerned about every race that they vote for.
You know, one of the things I've learned about the Register of Deeds is I didn't take it very seriously. Mm-hmm. You know, I was like, Register of Deeds, wow. You know, we made jokes about how we're going to make this interesting, but the truth of the matter is, it is an interesting and very, very important job.
Yeah.
If it's done wrong, it can be a huge mess.
Right.
I mean, so it's important that we when we get ready to vote, that we consider each candidate and we consider the qualifications. And you're saying your strengths is the administration side, which is basically this is not a hugely political office. Even though it's a partisan election, it's more of, we're hiring an administrator with our vote.
Right. That's great.
So. Now, if people want to know more about Mike and Mike Green and his campaign for Register of Deeds, how do they find him?
Well, they can go to my website, greenforrod.com, and there I link to my Facebook page.
So they can go there. Now, how do they want to talk to you in person?
Yeah, if they want to talk to me in person, they can give me a call, and my phone number is 803-563-8085. 803-563-8085.
If you want to find out more about Mike Green in depth, you can Google the Southwest Election Ledger and Mike Green, and there'll be an article come up that I wrote several weeks ago about Mike that's running in the Ledger. All the Ledger stories archived, so you can go back, read more, but you don't need to do that. Just Google the Southwest Election Ledger and the topic, and it will bring it up. So, Mike, people can call you. People can go to your website. They can go to your Facebook page. You've got some handouts that you leave around and talk to them. Every time I see you got a new green shirt on and a green tag, and we've got one of your signs here on our political sign collection. So you can find out more about Mike Green, and if they're just concerned about what's happening in Lexington County in general and the political election, they can call and talk to you too.
That's correct. They can call and talk to me, or you should always go to the Southwest Ledger for all your news.
Well, thank you for that plug, Mike. We appreciate that. Mike's a faithful follower of the Ledger and been following the morning show a good bit.
Yeah, I've tuned in several different mornings here, and let me tell you, it's very interesting. You always have a great show.
Well, we appreciate that. We really
the
do.
Daily Devotion, and let me tell you, my favorite is the B&L commercial.
Our good friends at B&L Automotive, they get a kick out of that one too. Now, listen, we've got about 5 minutes left, and we're going to